This is a production of PBS Charlotte.
The following episode of Charlotte Cooks is brought to you by Central Piedmont Community College and viewers like you. Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Chef Pamela Roberts and I welcome you to this edition of Charlotte Cooks. Today we're going to do something that everybody loves. Pizza! Pizza, pizza, pizza. I'm going to show you how to make pizza at home. It's really a wonderful, fun thing to do. There's no limit to the toppings that you could put on top of a pizza, but there are a couple of pieces of equipment that you could have at home to make pizza making very, very successful. One of those is what's called a pizza stone. And this is my pizza stone from my oven at home, and it is years and years and years old. You can see, normally they'll be kind of white and pale like this when you buy them. And as you use them over the years, they will get nice and seasoned and colored, and it doesn't mean it's dirty or anything, it just means that it's really well used. If you have one of these, and you say, where do I store it? I leave mine on the shelf in the oven all the time. And put stuff on top of it, it just doesn't matter. These things can break if you move them around a lot, and they're just ceramic stones. And so when you get it, best place to keep it is in your oven. You don't have to worry about taking it in or out at all. So I'm gonna put this in the oven because we heat this up at the same time we preheat our oven. So this is a nice hot surface. And when you slide your pizza into the oven onto the nice hot stone, you're going to get that crispy crust that is just so yummy. So into the oven this goes. Now the next thing we need to make a really delicious pizza at home, to get the pizza off of that stone, we're going to need something called a pizza paddle. These are just wooden, you can get them metal, but the wooden ones, I just like the wooden ones. There's just something really nice about the feel. Once again, this is ancient. You can see that it's got some burnt edges, it's got all kinds of wear and tear on it, but I think my paddle tells a story. And so what you do with this, when the pizza is getting ready to go in the oven, you sprinkle a little cornmeal on the top, and you want to make sure the dough slides. We'll go over all this when we get ready to do the pizza. And you slide it into the oven. It slides right off the peel, right onto the stone, and it starts cooking right away. And now when you're ready to get the pizza out of the oven, you slide this underneath the pizza, and the pizza comes out, and you slide it onto your cutting board, and you cut it, and you slide it onto a serving tray, and then you slide it right on into your mouth and into your stomach and eat it, consume yum, 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 yum pizza. All right, so now we're going to get started. What do we need to get started for pizza? You need dough. We're going to make our own dough. Now, there's two ways of doing this. We can make our dough, and we can put our pizza on the stone and do it from raw, or we can par bake our pizza crusts. When we par bake our pizza crusts, they're going to turn out looking a lot like the pre-made pizza crust that you can find in the grocery store. When you make it at home, it's not going to cost you nearly a fraction of what they cost you in the store. Can you make a whole bunch of these and put them in the freezer? Oh yes, you certainly can. That would be a really good thing to do, because then all you have to do is slather it with sauce and cheese or whatever it is you want to put on there, slide it back in the oven, and what really is really good about this is it makes your crust really crispy. And par baking is really a nice way of going this. But I'm going to show you how we're going to go through all of this. So, put the par bake down. We're going to get over here and start with our raw dough. We're going to use a mixer. We're going to put this in and snap it down. Now, for dough, we're going to use a dough hook. Now, dough hook, what the dough hook does is it just rolls the dough. This takes place in kneading. So what kind of flour are we going to use for our pizza dough? Well, there's a couple things you can choose. You can choose regular old, everyday, all-purpose flour. You can choose to use a bread flour. You can choose an Italian specialty flour called Caputo Double O, and basically all that is a type of wheat that has been ground really, 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 really super fine. And we mix that with high gluten flour, which gives us that elasticity. Now, if you know anything about pizza, we know that that elasticity is important for our dough. So we're going to choose one of the flours that gives us that elasticity. So my favorite, absolute favorite combination is equal parts of high gluten flour and the Italian Caputo flour. Can you find that Caputo flour easily? Sometimes. Sometimes if you have like a specialty gourmet store here in town, you can find it there, or you may be able to get it online. A couple other ingredients that you can add. Now, it's really kind of important when you are working with yeast that you understand that when you have salt and you have yeast, you don't want to mix them together. And why don't you want to mix them together? Because the salt will inhibit the yeast action. Now I'm using some yeast in here. You can choose not to use any yeast at all. If you like your pizza crust to be really thin and really crispy, then leave the yeast out. Some recipes will call for you to add a small bit of sugar as well. And all the sugar is just adding food for the yeast to get all nice and active. So if you are making something like a deep dish pizza, which is totally possible with this too, you just pat it into a cake pan and bake it off and let it go nice and thick. More like a focaccia pizza than it is a pizza. You want to use a little sugar because that's going to give your yeast some food to act on so it gets nice and active. So now when I'm adding my yeast and my salt to my flour, you want to keep them separated. So basically what that means, I'm just going to add the yeast on one side of the bowl, I'm going to add the salt on the other side of the bowl. Is this important? Yeah, it is. Okay, mix it together. Low speed and just start it going here. And the next thing we're going to use is we're going to use 2/3 of a cup of about, you want the water to be hot. We're going to use some water in here. The water needs to be below 112 degrees. Why 112 degrees? Because above that, it's going to kill your yeast. It's not going to work too well. So you can stick it in the microwave for about 30 seconds. And basically, how do you know when it's, you don't have to get your thermometer out and do anything like that. Remember, our body temperatures are 98.6 on the average. And so when you feel this, if this just feels warm to you, it doesn't feel hot, it's good to go. If it feels hot, that means it's reaching 115 up to 120 plus on up. But if it just feels warm to you, you can pretty much trust your body temperature for it to be an accurate temperature that's good enough for yeast. We're also going to be adding some olive oil to this. We're going to add about 3 tablespoons of olive oil. So I'm going to add my olive oil to my water because it just makes it a whole lot easier to add all your liquids at one time than it is to add the water and then add the oil. I love it. It looks like a lava lamp. Bloop, bloop, bloop. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to add it in nice and slow. And as opposed to making cookies when you don't want to have gluten development, on pizza and pizza dough, you do want to have gluten development. So we're going to let this incorporate, and we're going to let this knead until it's smooth and elastic. And once your dough all comes together, you want to go ahead and knead it. And it takes about 10 minutes to knead it with the machine until it becomes nice and smooth and elastic. So now, once my dough is all come together and it's kneaded for about 10 minutes, we're going to have it looking actually like a bowl of dough. A bowl of dough. So this actually will make 2 pizzas. So the big thing we're going to remember is, do you remember the size of that stone that I put in the oven? Well, we don't want the pizza to be hanging over the edge. We want it to fit nice on that stone. You can also find them round, and they're not expensive. Neither one of these pieces of equipment are very expensive at all. Probably get the entire outfit for less than $20. So go ahead and get it, especially if you like pizza at home. Notice I'm taking this and I'm forming it into a ball, okay? I'm going to take this and I'm going to divide it in half. Notice how I'm measuring so accurately. I got 1 pizza, 2 pizzas, okay? Beautiful, beautiful dough. I round them back out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this is called a pizza peel, by the way. Peel as in we're peeling an orange. Peel because it peels it off the stone, I guess. I don't know, that's my version. Cornmeal. You're going to take some cornmeal and you're going to put it on the bottom of this. And you're going to rub it around to where it's all the way to the edges. And if you need more, be generous with your cornmeal. Cornmeal's inexpensive. And basically what this is this is like little ball bearings on the bottom of your pizza to keep it from sticking. And so when we have our dough all rolled out, we're going to put it on top of this and we're going to slide it in. And I'm going to show you how to make sure that that sliding action happens. So here on our board, you notice I don't even have any flour on my board. If you found that your dough was sticky at all and you needed to put flour on your board, just use a very, very little bit, because we don't need this dough to stick and we don't need it to slide around on the cutting board while we're trying to roll it out. And a lot of times that will happen if you have too much flour on your board. So in the meantime, I've got some other dough balls over here. You can see these have risen a little bit as opposed to my lovely little flat ball I'm putting with it right now. So here we go. We're going to round it out into a nice flat round shape. I'm going to take a French rolling pin. I love these rolling pins. This is called a French pin, and basically it's a French pin because it doesn't have any handles and doesn't have any ball bearings in it, and you just put it down and you roll your dough. Okay? We're going to roll the dough. Now here's something you guys need to be aware of. When you're rolling your dough and it seems to shrink back on you, watch what I mean. Watch what I mean here. We're going to see how it shrinks back. It's pulling back on it. What this means is that it needs to rest, okay? So basically, how you make it rest? Let it sit there. Just don't mess with it. Cover it up with a towel, something. Just let it sit there. You want to get a crust that's relatively thin. So you're thinking I'm going to pick this up and throw it in the air, aren't you? Nah, we don't have much ceiling space here. We could, but I'm holding my hands like this, okay? Both of them. And I'm up and underneath that dough, and I'm stretching this dough, okay? I'm stretching it from the center out. You can see how that's stretching, okay? Stretch it to the edges. You could see how the dough is getting thinner in the middle, okay? Just stretch it out with your hands. You don't need to have any special equipment. You don't need to know how to toss this in the air, but you could. You know, it would be really a lot of fun to do. Make up a whole bunch of dough balls. Whole bunch of dough balls you don't care about. Practice your throwing the pizza in the air. Get really good with it. Throw the dough balls away. You know, I'm sure you guys have seen those shows where the pizza dude is just throwing the pizza everywhere and catching it and doing all kinds of fun things with it. Thing is, you got to make sure you don't get too narrow in some spots. You can roll it out with your pin if you like. Now, you have seen some of the popular pizza chains going really overboard with their pizza doughs and doing things like stuffed crust. You know how you do a stuffed crust? You want to know? You roll your crust out really thin, and you would put a layer of cheese around the edge, and then you just fold it over. And then you make your pizza on the inside, and then it becomes a stuffed crust, okay? Can you stuff it with all kinds of things? Oh yeah, you sure can. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go with this one. We're gonna put it on our pizza peel. Now when you put it on your pizza peel, one thing you're gonna wanna do is make sure that it moves. Okay, it moves. So that means it's gonna come off this peel really, really easy when I put it in the oven. We're gonna make a really simple pepperoni pizza here. So we have some pizza sauce. Oh my gosh, you don't have pizza sauce? What are you going to do? Oh my goodness, do you have to go to the store and buy pizza sauce? No, you don't. You can take your tomato sauce, you can take a tomato puree, you can take ground tomatoes. All are types of tomato products you can buy in the grocery store. And all you have to add to this is some garlic powder, some dried oregano, some dried basil. If you had plain old dried Italian seasonings, that would be great. But also, another thing to add to this would be herbes de Provence, which is really, it adds a really elegant flavor, I think, to the dough because you're putting it on the dough. So this is going to be a raw pizza. I'm going to do another one where we're going to par cook it so you can see the difference, okay? So I'm going to lay down a little bit of sauce. Now be careful about adding too much sauce. You don't want it to be all liquidy. You just want it to be a nice little smear coating. Cheese. Now, we all know mozzarella goes really, really good with pizza. Mozzarella is what you see in the commercials when they pick up the pizza and it stretches for 10,000 miles. But what we want to do is add a little more flavor to that mozzarella. So I'm bringing forward here, what do I have? We have a lovely hunk of fontina cheese here and a lovely hunk of, look at this, provolone. Yum, yum, yum. In fact, when you go to the store and you're buying the bags of quatre fromage or mixed Italian cheeses, most likely it's mozzarella, fontina, provolone, some Parmesan, or also maybe some Asiago thrown in there. So what are we going to do? We're going to grab ourselves a box grater. And all we're going to do with this is shred this up, just like this. I've already got some of this done, so I'm not going to show you all of it. I just want to get you the idea. Take your provolone and do the same thing. We are going to be shredding this, and we're going to put it all in the same bowl so that we have our mixed cheese to go on top of our pizza. We are still going to have some mozzarella in there. We're still going to get the stretch. We're still going to get that lovely flavor from the mozzarella, but we're also now going to get these enchanting flavors from the provolone and fontina cheese. So what do? Do you put the cheese down first and toppings on top? Sure. Put your toppings on first and then your cheese on top? Sure. Are there any rules? No. You can do what you want. So for a basic cheese pizza, voila, there we go. But what's sitting right here? Oh my gosh, this is an unusual little pizza. This is what we call a flatbread. This one is caramelized onions and goat cheese. So does it have to be pepperoni? Nope, but it's going to be. So we're going to take our pepperoni, we're going to put it on top. You can put it under the cheese if you like, or how about putting a cheese layer, a pepperoni layer, and another cheese layer? You can do that. You can put cooked sausage on these. I would not use raw sausage. You could put vegetables on these, like roasted peppers or artichokes, just about anything you want. Oh, look, we have some mushrooms. Ha ha, pepperoni and mushroom. Here you go. Throw a couple of these on here. That looks nice. This pizza, aha, pizza. It's ready to go in the oven, okay? We want to make sure that it still wiggles. It still wiggles. Thank you, cornmeal. You're doing a wonderful job. And now we're going to take it, we're going to slide it into this oven. Now, what temperature? 450 degrees, 475. Hot, hot, hot ovens, okay? Why hot? It's going to cook quick, all right? So here we go. So now our pizza's in the oven and it's cooking. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to par bake the crust first, because there's a big difference when you have a raw crust in the oven and a crust that's been par baked. How do you par bake? How do you make those pre-made pizza crusts? I'll show you. You're going to take this and you are basically just going to roll it out to be the size of pizza that you want, round or square, heart-shaped or the shape of the continent of Africa. You can call those free-form pizzas. Once again, you're going to take your crust, you're going to stretch it a little bit. Okay. Now the trick for doing this with the stretching stuff, guys, is just to make sure you don't stick your finger through it. That's why I use my knuckles underneath. Okay, now what I'm going to do with this crust, because if I just take this and I just pop it in the oven right now, what's going to happen, and you're going to notice, it's going to get a great big bubble on it. It's not a big deal, really. You're just going to take a fork or something that we have. This is not a soil aerator. This is what we call a docker. I love this thing because it just goes like this. And what does it do? It puts little tiny, not even holes. The holes don't even go all the way through. But it just puts a little bit of a hole on the surface of that dough to prevent those bubbles from forming. If that bubble forms, is it a big deal? No, it's not at all. Just pop it with a fork or just whatever. You want to make sure, though, you're not putting holes through your crust on the bottom, because then when you put your stuff on top, it's going to leak through the holes at the bottom of the pizza. A little bit of cornmeal on our peel. And once again, this dough is so lovely. It just is not sticky in the least, which is really great. See, it wiggles. It's just the right size. Now this is only going to get par baked, so it's going to go in the oven. It's only going to be in there for a few minutes, so watch it. There we go. Our par baked dough. Now we're ready to make this into another pizza. And I think on this one, I'm going to put some other kind of toppings on it, but I'm going to use pizza sauce again. And just treat this just like you did your raw crust. You're going to slather it up with whatever it is you like, and we like pizza sauce. Some people will leave it off altogether. You can even take this pre-baked shell and baste it with a little bit of olive oil, and then you can slather it with garlic, like fresh garlic, and make it like a garlic bread kind of thing. Here we have some sun-dried tomatoes. And I like these sun-dried tomatoes because these are nice and small and they're gorgeous. And I'm going to put these under the cheese this time. So now we have a nice sun-dried tomato pizza. And we're going to put some artichokes on here. Artichokes. Oh yes, lovely artichokes. We'll add a nice flavor. Now here's the thing about artichokes, guys. And what do you like to drink with your pizza? Sometimes you like beer, but if you are going to be putting any kind of red wine with your pizza and you're eating artichokes with it, buy the cheapest red wine you can, because artichokes make cheap red wine taste like an expensive red wine. It's just one of those little things. We're also going to be able to take some roasted red peppers and green peppers and yellow peppers. We've got these peppers and we've roasted them and we've marinated them in a beautiful balsamic. And so they have some beautiful flavor, wonderful flavor to them. Basically, we just took it on a pasta platter and took it apart and put it on a pizza. You can so totally do that. Do you have to have cheese on a pizza all the time? No. Does it taste good on a pizza? Oh yeah. Yeah, it really does. So now I've got this lovely veggie pizza, but I can also take some of our fresh mozzarella. We have some fresh mozzarella that we once again marinated, and we could put some of these chunks around on the pizza too. Pizza margherita, which is nothing more than fresh sliced tomatoes and fresh mozzarella and fresh basil. Now, if you're going to do like a pizza margherita, I wouldn't put the basil on until the very end because basil would turn black on you, but use it as a little garnish. Also from here, we can take more of our cheese, and I'm going to use this lovely cheese combination we have here with the Parmesan Reggiano, the mozzarella, the fontina, and the provolone. And I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of cheese over everything here. Now you can choose to use less cheese. You can choose to use more cheese. One of the things I want to encourage you to do is to experiment. And if you're having a family pizza night, why couldn't you just give everybody their own little pizza shell and make them their own flavors that they want to have? You can just raid your refrigerator and take everything out and do it that way. All right, here we go, pizza time. Ooh, look at him. There we go. So there's our pizza. Now we're going to cut it. You can use a pizza wheel. Cut it in half. Cut it in quarters. We're going to cut it in eighths, wonka. And we're going to cut it. There we go. We're going to grab a nice little tray, and we are going to slide it on. So now, I'm going to take this one step further because I love pepperoni and mushroom pizza. But you know what else I like putting on top of that? A little bit of salad. I like to put a little simple green salad on top of my pizza. Why? Because it's a little bit refreshing. Take this, toss it just a little bit. And to me, folks, this really makes one heck of a delicious pizza. Put that on top now. When you grab your slice, make sure you get some on there because you're going to take that, you're going to eat it. It's going to be so good. All right, so now we have goat cheese and caramelized onion pizza, I should say. We can call these flatbreads. Here we have a veggie pizza. Yummy, look at that. Fresh vegetables. We have a pepperoni pizza. We have a cheese pizza. Woohoo, cheese pizza. Here's the dessert pizza. Blueberry with lemon cream cheese and a fondant drizzle. This is not your pepperoni. And then we also have cinnamon cream cheese with sliced apples. This is like apple pie on a pizza crust. Yummy, yummy. So who's to say you can't make your own pizza buffet at home? Right, with your dough balls here, you have any left over, you can see that they're risen a little bit, and that's okay, that's just fine. Take your cellophane, you can use a plastic bag, you're going to take your dough ball, and flatten them out a little bit. I just love handling dough. Dough is just so cool. I'm going to take this and we're going to wrap him up nice and tight in your cellophane. And this, you can put this in your freezer, you can put this in your refrigerator and save it for, I wouldn't go beyond 2 days. In your freezer, all you have to do is take these out and let them come up to room temperature, lay them out on a sheet pan just like this, let them rise up, and then they're ready to go. You just take it and roll it out and make your pizza again. But there's no reason you can't save these dough balls and use them on another day. So I really do hope that you try homemade pizza, make it at home, and let me know how you have enjoyed this show and making pizzas for yourself. You can find our recipes on our website at pbscharlotte.org, or you can email me at pamela.roberts@cpcc.edu. And thank you for watching this episode of Charlotte Cooks, and we'll catch you next time.
A production of PBS Charlotte.